What's up, everybody? This is Greg Horry here with another episode of Once It Clicked, where I have the privilege to chat with makers and innovators in the mechanical keyboard community. This week, I share my conversation with truly an eccentric creative, Roman of Captomaniacs. With early exposure to art and creativity from painting, typography, and theater, Roman shares his journey studying communication and design and ultimately finding and exploring the world of artisan keycaps. We dive into many topics, including his time working in the commercial design industry, in addition to his thinking and design process behind his edgy and naughty aesthetic. I had so much fun during our conversation and I'm really excited to be able to share with all of you who are listening. A short disclaimer: we explore some adult themes and use some adult language, so anyone who's listening with youngsters, be advised. Without further ado, please enjoy my conversation with Roman, the man behind Captomaniacs. Yo, Roman, thank you so much for making the time today.
Hey, Greg. I'm pumped. I'm excited and I'm nervous.
You know what? Honestly, I was thinking about prep for this, and I was actually really excited. One, knowing that we've connected before and we've talked several times offline, I guess off podcast, and two is knowing that you've been listening to all the material too. For me, as another level of expectation. So it's mutual.
Okay. Okay, but yeah, I did. You knew it, and I just had to make I think I kind of made a story for everything so far, and I was so much into it. And one day there was one podcast. I don't know what happened there, but it did not end up on Spotify that day or the day after. I don't know. And I was so frustrated because I was at work and I just could use Spotify, but it wasn't there. And I couldn't use, I don't know why, maybe, I don't know, the IT or something, but I couldn't use the web link. You normally upload them as well. So yeah, shitty day, but
no, that was my fault. I can think back. I was still learning how to upload it, and that was on me. Yeah, looking forward, dude. I'm excited to dive into a lot of different things. I mean, you're so open, and I just appreciate you being here.
Let's go.
All right,
let's go.
I guess just to start, I'm curious, where are you now?
Mainly in Germany. And mainly due to COVID, I will stay here for even longer. But yeah, it's north of Germany, leads to the East Coast, near of Hamburg. If anyone ever heard of Hamburg, it's a nice place. It can be a little bit naughty, so I like it here. It's not the worst.
I know naughty's a intriguing word, and maybe we'll get into that. How did you end up in Hamburg? Oh, sorry, go on.
Mainly, the city where I'm living now is the same city that I was born. It's called Eutin. I studied communication and design, and normally after this particular kind of industry, you have to move in a bigger place. Because in smaller cities, there aren't any kind of advertising agencies that are, I don't want to say that they are bad, but mostly you won't have any bigger clients, or the work you're doing isn't that much of creative stuff, or isn't totally intelligent. So yeah, I just had to move for 9 years, and then after 9 years and some kind of a burnout and a lot of overtime, I just moved back with my girlfriend and kind of convinced her that even a smaller city can be nice as well. I try. I even for today, I try to convince her, but yeah, till today it kind of works.
You just planted the seeds for a lot of things that might be ripe to explore. But I'm curious, you said this is close to where you grew up?
No, it's already the place that I grew up.
Oh.
I was born here, and then to my 16th birthday, I lived here. Then I moved some kilometers to a bigger city here nearby where I studied. And even that place wasn't big enough to find agencies. So then I moved to Hamburg, which, like, from my place now to Hamburg is like 2 hours with the car. Around 2 hours. I mean, Germany isn't that big.
I mean, for me, my geography already is pretty poor just for my immediate area. So you're challenging me with this. But what was it like going around OIT?
I mean, it's a small town. It's like that small that you kind of have like some cows around. So like late at night when you kind of drunk or yeah, got some other stuff. You're feeling like throw them over, like, or lean on some cows while they're sleeping and standing. So yeah, it's that kind of small. But it was
big.
Yeah, right.
It's real, yeah.
Yeah, totally. But to me, like, I mean, back then, I think it was pretty shitty, and I always thought like I need to go to like I don't know Berlin or something way bigger. But yeah, like from the perspective I got now, I mean, how could I argue myself when I already moved back here like 4 years ago? So yeah, it's kind of bad to argue, but it's pretty chill, and especially for me who was in the situation of like was pretty burnout from the work and other things that just happen in life, to just settle in a smaller town with a girlfriend that already like can appreciate it, which wasn't like clear from the get-go. So I was really happy that she is still happy now. Yeah, that brought a lot of good stuff in my life, I have to say. Like till now, I don't want to move that fast from here. Like, yeah, at the moment, of course.
Yeah. I mean, I can hear you say that you're appreciative for what you have. And you mentioned growing up in your hometown and then leaving for Berlin, was it?
Yeah, I kind of wish. I mean, I have to say, like, when I was pretty young, I think about 7, my mom and we moved to Berlin. Just she wants to like try it out. She always wanna also study art. But yeah, as like it was kind of hard. Like my mom raised me by herself, and yeah, so there wasn't really that time for her to like having enough money to kind of give me back for some hours a day and study herself art. So yeah, this is something I'm always like kind of I wish she had done it. Of course, I don't know how she could do it back then, but I always till today kind of wish that she find any solution back then that could work. But yeah, it didn't work out back then.
To clarify, just to be able to pursue art and like kind of support you guys as a family.
Yes.
Is that what you mean, Tori?
Yes. Oh, okay. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Looking back, I mean, you mentioned, leaving your home, and I was just listening to Joseph Campbell's an interview by Joseph Campbell, where he talks about the hero's journey. And there's a typical arc where the hero will leave his or her hometown and then come back. It's like a circular journey. And I mean, I hear hints of that in how you say that you find yourself back home. But riffing off, what was it? What was it about Berlin or like the big city that made you want to explore there and leave?
Yeah, I always had in mind that I don't know, maybe this is something like maybe or most younger people maybe had in mind, but often you kind of think about like, oh, being in a bigger town, maybe you got more options and you can be more free. You don't have to play a role, and you can just do like some whatever your mind is already up for. And so even when I was younger, I think about 16, I already wanted to go like in bigger cities and have like the craziest parties and like some stuff that, was like kind of illegal. I don't know, but just doing some sweet stuff that I couldn't do where I lived. And just wishes that I had when I was pretty young.
That makes sense. Exploring new opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned your mom and that she was studying art. What did that
She
look
wanted
like?
to. She never did, but she wanted to.
Uh.
Yeah, right. Is like my main influence, I would say. Like, of course, I got some inspiration from other people around me, but my mother, like, it started out when I was young, and she just came into my room and asked, like, "Can I draw you a wall just with fishes and stuff?" And I was kind of like, "Oh, mom, I'm like, I don't want it. Like, I don't want to feel ashamed besides my friends. So no, come on, get out of my
Yes,
room."
yes.
And yeah, she totally gives a fuck about me and my opinion. So she just did it on a weekend.
Yes.
And it was so great. Like, I think back then, of course, I didn't appreciate it as much as I would do today, just as was like a childish idiot. But it was awesome. Like, and I even know, like, when I get in bed when I was young, I really appreciate it. But I never told her, of course, because, you know. And then I think some years after that, we never like put any color over it on top, so it always stays the way as it was because we didn't move. I had the idea of let's make every wall, but every wall is something else. So one wall was some dinosaurs, the other wall was some like jungle, whatever, like a toucan and some tigers and whatsoever. And the last wall, I said, I will do something on my own. And I just like bought some like the cheapest spray paint that I could find. And I just made like stencils and they all look pretty shitty. And like every second word there was like one letter missing and it was so dumb. But yeah, and the biggest problem was when we moved out then we have to paint over it 16 times because the fucking spray paint, the white, it couldn't cover it. Like, not at all.
Did too good of a job.
No. I just used like freaking useless paintings, but yeah, it was pretty funny. Maybe even today we'll see something over it. I don't know.
How old were you when you made those paintings in your room?
I think I was about 10 or 12. Not sure right now. Yeah, but something about that. I already started. What is it like? 6th grade? I'm not sure. But I already had like an art class and that leads me into like doing more. And this is kind of funny when talking about artisans later. I always was into big formats. Like I was never into small stuff, you know, which is kind of funny. But back then, I just made like that leans into making advertising. I just took every sheet of paper that I found, glue them together, and make like a pretty big poster that I drew on. And then I just went out, moved to a street, and there was like a billboard. And young as I was, I just glue it on there. It was just stuff that I did, and I just glue it on there. And maybe it was even illegal. I'm pretty sure it was illegal, but I mean, I was like 13, 15, I'm not sure. But yeah, and that was pretty cool back then. Like doing these bigger format stuff, big illustrations, doing some calligraphy stuff and so on. That was, yeah, I was totally into that.
Wait a second, what would you put on the individual pieces of paper that you would then paste over the billboards?
Oh, nothing. Like they all hold on together, like one paper to another, and just the sides were glued together. So it looked pretty shitty. But it was good enough for me back then, I guess.
Was it just the blank pieces? You wouldn't draw or write on them, and then you just...
Oh, no, just calligraphy letters. Like really, I had like a really big stroke that I painted with, and some black colors, and it doesn't even make sense. Like there were just letters, like no real words, just letters.
Yes.
So yeah, I was an early typography idiot.
Oh man, I'm curious to dive into that. I mean, that makes me think of like Steve Jobs. I mean, sitting down and
oh my god, no.
Early similarities. That also like immediately I get this image of I saw this documentary of Cause, a street artist, and he's
Sure.
going through downtown like urban settings and replacing like bus posters with his own creation. So I'm envisioning you on top of like these billboards, just like slapping your art on there or your calligraphy. Um, this is just in my mind.
Okay.
Yeah, so you mentioned this art class that you've taken it like around when you're middle school age, and the
Right.
support and encouragement of your mom, like with your creating your room and painting and designing your room. And then you mentioned communications and design major going to university. So what
Yes.
happened in between then, and what motivated you to choose that path?
So I finished school and then I didn't know at all what I want to do. And I was a little bit into doing like theater stuff. Like I had like we in this small town we had like some kind of an like in small opera, like really small opera. And I had like I don't know what it would be in English, but like a non-speaking role
Okay.
as an actor, but without speaking at all.
Yeah.
And I did that for like 3 years just to have like some kind of money on the backside. And we had like an awesome makeup artist. Like she was awesome. This woman was beautiful. And she kind of convinced me, like when I finished school, that I just want to do something that kind of have to do something with the theater, but not especially like doing actor, but more like doing like the makeup or like the design for the opera itself, something like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was like pretty much broke, my mother as well. So I figured out that the only way I could do it is to being a hair cutter, because in Germany, when you are a hair cutter, at the end of the day, you can or you could, if you are good enough, going after yeah being a hair cutter, um to be like not a full makeup artist, but some kind of it, if you know what I mean. Like still after it, when you are finally a hair cutter, then you have to add like I think 2 years of doing makeup, and then you are finally a makeup artist. And then I could work
Mm-hmm.
for the theater. So I started doing being a hair cutter for half a year. I don't know. The work was totally shit. It was pretty crap. And then I also was allergic to I think like half of the stuff they are using. So
Oh,
it
like
was
the
kind
chemical or
yeah.
uh,
So it was pretty bad, but at the same time, I was pretty happy about it, to be honest, because I just want to get off there and just want to have like a real reason to not finish it. Yeah, and then I still don't really know what I want to do, but yeah, as I always was into like this big formats and still doing like illustrations and typography for my own, I thought like, I mean, advertising is shitty in itself, but at the end of the day, it's creative. So I thought like, okay, let's try it. Let's see where I can find or where I can do like my diploma in communication design. And then
mm-hmm.
yeah, I find a school kind of nearby, about like yeah an hour ago from the place that I lived. And yeah, they took me right from the get go. It was kind of interesting. Like they wanna have like a portfolio, and they really shit on my illustrations, to be honest, but they like my photography, which was totally weird to me. But to me, my photography was totally trash, and I just put it in there just to have more work. But yeah, they said they want to get me in there because of the photography. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad. That's the only reason, maybe, that I finished it at the end of the day. And yeah, it was an awesome time. Like a lot of free stuff. I see myself when I remember it. Yeah, I felt like totally free, like never before and never till now. Like those 3 years were pretty awesome.
I'm curious to explore what that experience was like for you. Looking back though, how did you make that jump from the hairdresser, makeup artist in theater, working in theater, to then going like selling your soul to the advertising marketing track? That seems like a big jump.
It was a big jump. I kind of forced myself to it, because the whole time I think like you just have to do it. Like you can't start making haircut, stop it, do something new, and then just do it like with half a heart. So I just convinced myself to say like, yeah, there is a lot of stuff that doesn't really resonate with yourself, and a lot of ignorant, completely assholes just working in this industry. But I just wanna do something, and I want people to like feel that I'm not totally worthless in this industry. Which can this is something that can happen pretty fast, because in this industry you normally always work for the trash bin. Like always. So whenever you got a client, like a good example is something like I work for like IKEA or Volkswagen. And when there's like a bigger campaign, you work on it like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, more than a month. And then everything that you did, and you always do overwork, like every time, every day, and then still have to go on weekends and so on. But at the end of the day, it still got trashed. Like everything you did there have to do from the get-go and from the start again. Like this is pretty normal. But at the end of the day, it brings up something that I really like now, because I just learned that critic can be good, but some critics can be totally useless because they don't like the main thing that I'm doing, of course, like working in this industry, is like solving a problem. Like we don't have to talk about design or whatsoever. As long as the design at the end of the day or whatever you brings out solve the main problem, then it's good to go. Like it's totally fine. But yeah, I have to learn it, and it's good value to me, like till today.
Yeah. Wow, that sounds like a distinct difference going from what your experience was learning communication design, where you said that you had this freedom to. Yeah. I'd be curious to hear more about that. But then going to industry where you have more problem focused, it's not about realizing maybe your vision. It's more about focusing on the end result, which makes me want to hear more about your university experience, your time learning, where you said you had this freedom. I mean, these 3 years, like, what was that like for you?
It was, I mean, there are many things that were pretty interesting, because like I was the youngest in class. From all the class that were there, the most people, I think I started when I was 21 or even 20, I'm not even sure. And everyone else was like already 30. So that already brought up the situation of me had kind of stopped to being as childish as I was back then, because no one really said like, oh yeah, you can talk with Roman because he will just talk bullshit. So yeah, I had to grow up a little bit faster at that time. But there were two parts that were like the main points where I would say that gives me that freedom. The main part was like the schools. I don't know how they did that, but they were kind of like all teachers were there every day, and you could come and go whenever you want. That was pretty crazy. So you got like 3 main courses inside the week that you have to be there. But on every other course, they don't. So they say like it's useful to specify yourself in some directions, like typography or like more creative design or whatsoever. But on the other hand, they just figured out that it's just so helpful that when you have like 3 weeks of your like specific typography, draw a fucking L, whatever, it just feels good to be in class where some people just do web design, even if you fucking hate web design and you never want to do it. It's just a nice thing to do. And so this is like number 1, which I really appreciated. And number 2 was like the like, I won't say boss of the school, it sounds bad, but the man who runs it was with Greenpeace. And that was pretty interesting for me. So I kind of get in touch with him and ended up being with Greenpeace and everything that surrounded like Greenpeace and environment and guerrilla stuff and so on.
Sorry,
And
what
that
is
was,
Greenpeace?
oh, you don't know Greenpeace. Oh, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So like, of course, you know Amnesty International,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay. And Greenpeace mostly, of course, like Amnesty International mostly put it on like, say for the humans, say for workplace whatsoever. And Greenpeace mostly do it like for animals, like all around the globe. And like it's like in Europe, it's pretty big. Like in America, yeah, you won't go to America that often. Sometimes, especially, it can be difficult. Like back then, Greenpeace had a pretty tough story because they were some kind of treated like terrorists back then. It was pretty hard. But yeah, they are like mostly for the environment, mostly for the animals, etc. And yeah, so I get in touch with like more political stuff. And that also was just some influence that really mostly at that time particularly um just helped me to understand more like myself, the world around me and whatsoever. So both of these points just made these 3 years like the best I had so far. And the third one is we moved to Sweden 3 times in these years. Like the best vacations I ever had. Like just with a tiny boat, drive to Sweden like 16 hours, and just yeah, having a canoe, put them on the water, and just being on some freaky islands. And yeah, that was pretty dope.
Mm. This was all during your 3 years studying?
Yes, yes.
Oh, wow.
It was pretty
Mm-hmm.
packed, to be honest. Like when I remember myself, like nice that you ask, but when I remember it, like I did something every day, and I did not sleep that much, and I eat a lot of ramen noodles, like the backpack one, because I don't have money at all. Like I just had those ramen noodles, and while yeah, that's also right. While I study, I already worked in a small agency that just do like oh, how to say in English, they just put like the work that the agency did, and most stuff that the agency did when they give it to us was just rough. It wasn't like finished to print it out. You know, there are some stuff that have to like rescale or just have to adjust a little bit or just to be safe that the PDF can get out or like print it out right, the color formats whatsoever. And this is what we did in that agency. And I had to work there, I don't know, like 12 hours a week just to pay the school. So I already had some kind of like a smaller job just to pay the school. And yeah, but still a lot of vacation, a lot of freedom back then. Yeah, felt better than after getting in the industry after it and working full time.
The beginnings.
Yes.
When you were taking classes, I heard you said you were advised to both focus on one track and then also expose yourself to like different, you said web design, other aspects. What did you choose to focus on? Was it your typography?
At first, yeah, the first year I started, or I want to go for typography. And I think I would have done it longer, but the teacher was pretty shitty. I don't like him. He was like a kind of guy who said like, okay, let's go. Everyone pack up your things. Let's go and search for like the next gravestone nearby, put a paper on top of it, and drew the colors of for the typography that was like put on the stone. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just to learn. Yeah, right. Just to learn every letter. And I think that was kind of interesting, but he did it like a full year. And I thought of, okay, I don't know where this is going. Like I didn't feel like, okay, this is kind of nice, and it doesn't really help me. So at the end of the day, I choose logo design, layout in particular, like working with InDesign the most, and a little bit of Photoshop. I think this is something like everyone at this point today knows, like everyone's kind of can use Photoshop. But it's still funny because even today people think that I'm using like 90% Photoshop and the rest is just like Illustrator and InDesign, but it's already like the other way around. I'm working like 99% InDesign and like the small sprinkles is just Illustrator and in Photoshop.
Photoshop. Actually, forgot to, or I didn't ask, where did your original interest in typography come from?
Oh, I can't even tell. I think mostly I was always interested in graffiti.
Mm.
I think mostly because like I'm come from a small town and there are no vandals in here and no one ruins the city because it's so damn small. But I always liked the idea of yeah, this kind of like there is like a pretty sweet space, but something is wrong. Like I don't like the street that is completely clean. Like I would more like walk down the street where like some car is burning and someone throws a flamethrower. I don't know. But that I don't know. It just works better for me when something is it to me it's more true. So it always felt better to me. And yeah, I always was into graffiti and mostly stencils, which of course can be used for typography, but mostly use it like more for pictures and like multi-shot arts. But I think that leans into interest in typography, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Very. So then why logo design?
I think what I've learned from logo design mostly is like it just got like a crazy big impact. And that to me was like, oh man, there is so much value into a logo. Like you can do a pretty cool campaign for like a pretty big client. But when you delete the logo, you often realize that you can put so many companies on there that would work with that kind of a campaign. Like you can say like for, I don't know what is good to compare with IKEA in America, but there are a lot of business and industries in Europe that are like on the same level of IKEA. So there are a lot of people where you can use the logo, put it over there, and it still would work. And so I always thought myself like, okay, the logo is like the biggest point. So I want to learn that. I want to learn like what is the main reason, and that also leads me to why is a logo good and why is a logo bad, and why you always have to think about like, yeah, you can always add details and cute stuff and colors, but you always have to argue that. You always have to say like, yeah, why the fuck you doing it red? Like, why don't you have it black white so everyone can read it? So there have to be a reason to do something else. And I always loved that stuff, and especially everything that gets simplified. Like the most simplified logo, there might be a chance that you can even simplify it even more. Or it's a fucking dot, then you won't have a chance. But
yes, oversimplified. So having that perspective going in, this almost appreciation for what the logo represents for the brand, the company.
Yes.
Once you dive into the course, was there anything that changed, or did that kind of just deepen and broaden your perspective or appreciation for that?
I mean, what already changed was what I already said, like the idea of argue what you're doing. Like don't get in touch with something and say like, oh, I will design it and I will just add something here and there because it looks cool and whatsoever. Because it can happen so fast that you design something and you forget about that even the frame at the first is the first color itself. Like put it on white paper. The fucking white paper is already something you have to acknowledge and is important itself. And then you add some black color on top. You already got two colors. You have to like manage. And when you then already think about, oh yeah, then I can put a picture in whatsoever. I mean, this is like the main focus why so many people say like there is like a billboard or whatsoever, and you're standing in front of it like 120 meters far from it. You still have to realize there is a logo. And so you won't put like 10 words for it on there. Like it wouldn't work. But as you know, I mean, everyone has seen a lot of logos and a lot of shitty stuff. Stuff is happening. So I really appreciate to learn that. And I had a really great teacher who put a lot time and effort to brought up a good amount of arguments and value for it. Like even now, there is some stuff and even some sentences that just or I just realized them now while I'm doing logos for other people and other companies. So yeah, it really helps me a lot.
Oh, the idea of having your argument, having a solid reason for everything that you design with the logo, not only with the logos, but I imagine how you approach other aspects of your creations.
Yeah.
It makes me think it's like having both an intentionality and then also like constructing a narrative or this argument,
Yes. Yes.
this overall bigger picture for everything you design. I find that so fascinating, especially with creating.
Me too.
Like, yeah, you create, because it's like you're constructing this kind of like a mini world with each of your creations. I mean,
Yes.
be it a
Totally.
logo, a sculpt, or even just a color combination, you have this ability to create new or express yourself in new ways with that intentionality.
Yeah. And with that, you also got the pressure. Like when I do a logo, I always like this is something I find pretty interesting. I never do a logo on its own. I always do a corporate design. So whenever anyone got in touch with me or get in touch with me, it's always I do like the main colors, I do like secondary colors. I like try to tell people how you should use them, for what you should use them, where you should use them, and also some kind of like a safe space for the logo itself. Like, where are the places you can use them for? What kind of pictures you should use for them that the logo still pops and not even you can read it, but it's still got the same vibe for it. You know, like there's always like some kind of a PDF that at least got 10 sides with examples and stuff for people to realize like, okay, it not just looks cool, it also adds value to where I put it. This is like the thing that to me is like the most important. Like you can always do like a cool logo on a blank sheet of paper, but when it won't work on a business card or like on the billboard or whatsoever, it just don't work. And like of course you can always say like, oh man, I got like a small business running. I just have my business cards steadied. You can say that, and maybe it is true for the next years. But what if you're just getting bigger? Like don't say like you don't need it or it's not necessary. Like always, yeah, catch for the best you can, and of course you can always hit up the designer because you know he know he can pack a lot of stuff. Like he get hit all day long, so you are good to go to tell him like, man, it's nice, but it won't work for me for whatever you want to go for.
I see that in your approach, man. It's like with many things you do, you have both like it seems like very clear intention with what you're creating. And then you're also covering like so many bases when you're doing that. That's like, I mean, here I hear you describe the understanding of the application of the logo, not just isolated to one spot on, say, a piece of a business card, but understanding the whole, all of the ways that you can apply it. And then, I mean, I'm just thinking to your portfolio, both, I mean, even looking at your portfolio for your professional career, also for what you've done with artisans. I mean, you covered a wide variety,
yes,
even outside the scope, which I'm eager to get into. But before that, I mean, you mentioned that after you went to school, you then found yourself in this larger firm, this kind of more corporate structure for marketing and advertising, and you felt like that was not the space for you.
No. I mean, I still was in the industry for 9 years, 8 years. So I kind of stayed, but I already moved a lot. So, I think the standard time for being in an agency in Germany, at least, is 3 years. Then you normally move because normally you won't get a better job when you stay there. That's not how it works. Mostly it's like you stay for 3 years and then you move to another agency. So you get like from, I don't know, like a graphic designer to a junior art director, senior, whatsoever, to like a creative director. So yeah, I just climbed my way up to being an art director and being like at that point, I think I was like 25. I'm not sure. Then I finally reached like my biggest and best agency, which was like Grabatz and Partner. They named, and they just had like pretty cool clients. Like they had One client, I never worked for them. I really would love that I had to do it. This was like the main focus that I want to work there. They had um, some clients that one of them was like they called exit, and they were for people who are like Nazis but want to get out of there. Like they help them to get out of this situation, and they made so cool campaigns for it. And I love everything that was some kind of political and was. I mean, of course, they are always the hardest because you kind of hit the mark so perfect, so everyone feeling right and get involved in the right way and perspective. But yeah, this was like to me that was pretty interesting. And I mean, at the same time, we had like clients like Google and Amazon, IKEA, Volkswagen, and so on. So real big brands. But at the end of the day, I was always trying to catch. I mean, everything who needs like funds and do like social stuff, they don't have like the money. So for an agency, it's always pretty interesting to me. You take the money from the bigger brands, put like 10% aside, and you as an agency give it to those like smaller, more political whatsoever clients because, and I think this is like one of the coolest parts in agencies in this industry, because at the end of the day, it's not about the money, maybe like for the boss, of course, but for you as a designer, you get those prizes, like the Cannes Lion is one really big one you can get for like a creative work or big campaign. But mostly you can do those really, really, really cool creative campaigns for the smaller brands. Why? Because the bigger just say, make me a bigger logo and say like the car is 10% cheaper. Like there is no creative behind it, but Volkswagen would pay for it. But on the other hand, like the smaller brands, on one hand, they have to take what they get. And so the agency finally can do something really creative. And they just have to put it out there. And this is like a pretty cool stuff because most of this stuff will lead to like prizes and stuff and people who value the work on a creative perspective. So that totally values way more than any like check you will get at the end of the month.
Wait, to clarify, when you speak of the agency shifting the focus, or not shifting the focus, but balancing two projects, the larger clients like Volkswagen to basically generate funds to focus on these 10% projects where you have this larger, more specific impact in this creative freedom. Is that like, I guess I'm just trying to think how the company thinks about that. Is it to help the individual art directors, designers, graphic artists have their more creative freedom, or is it more we want the accolades of these prizes, we want the recognition for having these incredible designs? I mean, I hear multiple incentives that you're talking about,
and it is right. It's both. Because like as the agency, you know that the smaller brands have to take the creative approach that we're going for. But on the other hand, you are finally free to do stuff that can be criticized pretty good. Because for a bigger brand, that they won't allow it. Like in the day we are living today, like it's like even special when you put someone who is like homosexual. Like some brand wouldn't even do that. Like what the fuck? But you know, as a smaller brand, you can finally do something that hits a value or a valuable point at the time. Like when you work with someone who needs help or whatsoever, you have to show it. You just have to like put someone on there who is like a star and just give him money and everyone will run for it because it's hyped. You just have to show the problem itself, and a lot of people won't do it because, of course, like it's kind of bad to say, but mostly what we did at the time, we also had Volkswagen, and they had like a big problem because they put out some cars that have like a problem with the gas tank. I don't know what it was especially, but because of that, they were all in the news just because of that problem. So of course, we did a big marketing campaign with millions behind it to present them in a really professional, perfect way, because their ecosystem on whatever thing was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just bullshit politics stuff, but that's how it works. And the smaller brands, they won't even get there. Like, yeah.
I hear that.
It's easier.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you had all of this, seemed like added stress of overtime, unpaid overtime, extra hours that
Totally.
caused you to leave the larger agency. Once you left, what happened then?
Yeah, well, once I left, there was the point, like 4 years ago, where I said two things. Oh no, three. I said like I want to do like a trip worldwide, like just forget everything, just took all my money that I had and do nothing besides what I want to do at that day. Then the second one was like I wanna cut from the agency, but I still like marketing. I think marketing can be cool stuff, but I need to work for someone who just have like a better perspective on some stuff. This was like the second thing. And the third thing was like, I want to quit agency and industry totally and just want to do something completely new, like more on the social side, whatever. Yeah, like the money, I kind of counted what I had. Maybe I could leave like one country and then I'm completely broke. So yeah, this world thing, yeah, I don't know. Doesn't really work out at that time. Yeah, and then the second thing, which was like I stay in the industry, but maybe like change the focus. And then I realized, I mean, sure, like brands also do have, I will say, like small agencies in their brand itself. Like you, of course, you don't always have to like come up to like big agency and ask them to do their work for you. Everyone, of course, have their own designers, creatives, and whatsoever, if the brand is big enough. And so I ended up being in a startup in Hamburg. I just always want to try out what a startup, how is it to work for them. And yeah, I ended up there. They made a lot of like vegan food at that time. And I stayed there for like a year. But they made some weird decisions. I mean, not bad, but at that time, vegan wasn't like that popular. Like, I think when they did it like a year after, they would pop totally, but they did it like a year too early. So yeah, it crashed a little bit and the money didn't flow as it was. And so yeah, both of the bosses were some kind of stressed, of course, and they lead it to their colleagues. So yeah, it wasn't like the best situation. So that was the time when I decided, okay, I cut it off totally. I will move to like the place where I was born and where I was raised. Ask my girlfriend if she's fine with it. And yeah, we just spent a lot of time here before we decided, but then finally end up saying like, okay, let's move from I don't know how many million people live in Hamburg to like a place that have like under 20,000 people. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was interesting. And it was pretty soundless. There is not a lot of noise here. Like in Hamburg, of course, you got like every street got like 4 to 5 rows, and it's a lot. And then moving to a place that is like so calm, and everyone is looking at you because you look like someone who's coming from like a big city, and every like old people who watches and say, "Oh my god, that idiot! What is his problem?" Kind of funny, but yeah, yes. That's the main thing.
So then you worked for the startup, and then you came back to where you grew up, and you're still working, right?
Yeah, totally. Sorry, right. And then I searched for something new, and then I ended up working not for the city that I live, but the nearest city beside. Like for me, with the bike, I think it's 30 minutes that I need to work, and I do like the marketing for the whole city. Like whatever they are doing, like for tourists or like things happened in the city itself, or like kind of hard to explain in English. Like I think I don't get the words for it, but like the cities here, their main income is because of tourists. Like we are so near the coast that a lot of people come here to spending like a lot of weeks on their vacations. Mm-hmm. So this is why we make like a lot of marketing for the cities around. And yeah, I ended up like doing the marketing for the city here nearby. And yeah, that's pretty cool. Like it's the first time in my life that I don't do like a ton of overwork and still got like a free weekend and so on. Like I'm pretty grateful.
That makes sense. I'm thinking, being in the Bay Area, I've driven down and I see posters of,
yes,
like, oh, visit San Diego.
Right.
And I imagine that's only one really small aspect of what you do now. And I've heard you mention this before where, I think it was on, I remember it was on, David of Artkeep's stream, his podcast, Resin Talk. And
praise David.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I wouldn't be here without David. That's another story.
Me too.
Who knows? But, the transition from when you began as like a graphic designer, and you said then you have gone through with your professional experience, changing jobs, and where you are now to being an art director, you have a different perspective. And I was curious what that shift is for like your approach, or how that shift has been for your approach for what your creative expression, creative designs has been, if that even makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I think it's kind of hard to answer because like even in just 1 month, you can have like a lot of impact for some of the work that you do, and you realize that some of your older stuff that you hate wasn't that bad, and on the other hand, some stuff that you really think was totally useless. Only I say a double no. Stuff that was good was bad. Stuff that was bad was good. And that happened a lot. And like even today, sometimes I just realize that there's a lot of stuff that I was proud of some years ago. And now I just realized that everything around it was like so fancy and everyone made it good or talked good about. But in reality, it was like pretty bad. It was like pretty cheap and it just like some kind of like a hype thing. That, I mean, hype mostly always isn't a good thing in marketing. Like it's just useful when you want to, like, for an object, sell it for some month and that's it. Like you can't grow with hype. It won't work for a longer time and a longer term for the future. That's not a good thing to do.
It's not sustainable.
Yes, totally. And don't go for any kind of a cash grab or whatsoever. Always stay on your toe and just realize what is like the good thing that you are doing. Why are people already liking you? And just work on the problems and just realize what are problems. And like there is a good mentioning in marketing that I learned is like you can have like real problems that you realize and you can have hope. But the only thing you should not have are wishes, because wishes are always a problem itself. You know what I mean? Like as long as you say like, oh, I can imagine myself that at that and that point, this and that could happen. You can work with that, but you can never work with someone who say like, oh, I wish that I got like a Porsche and a car, and I mean, a Porsche is already a car, and a house and whatsoever. It's always a problem in itself. And that is pretty interesting. Even now when I'm doing like artisans and stuff, like it's a good thing that I learned.
I like that. The difference between a wish and a problem is a wish doesn't have the path, or it doesn't have like the way to achieve.
You can't grab it. You can't like argue with the wish. It's problematic.
Not clearly defined.
Right.
Yeah, what you said about shift in perspective from valuing an object for what it is itself, or what you believe it is itself, versus what other people say, is something that really hits me. And I think about that a lot with what I'm doing, with what I'm creating. And when did you realize that? Was that something that you learned throughout the process of your design experience, or was that like just a moment when you were looking back on your work?
I think, funny enough, I think the first time I realized something like that was at 2016, when friend of mine hit me up and say like, hey, my Pokemon cards are like crazy expensive. And I was like, okay, why the fuck are your Pokemon cards expensive? And it was the first time that I was like involved in this situation of realizing, oh yeah, there is stuff that comes from the 90s and people want it again. Why? And why makes that something expensive? And then you realize, oh, people even are willing to pay more because one card has a nick and the other one don't. Where the fuck is the difference? You can still play it. But then I realized they don't play it. They just put it in the binder anywhere in the shelf and won't see it for 3 years. But it has more value. And that was like a situation. We come to that after when talking about artisans, because like Pokemon is some kind of involved, funny enough. But yeah, this was the first time that I kind of like had the situation of get to know like collectibles and stuff. And I never had something like that. Like I think my grandfather collected stamps, but I never like that was pretty boring to me. But even now, like I know, of course, there are like stamps that are like crazy expensive, and you can buy houses for it. So yeah.
I hear that. That's funny. My mom used to collect stamps.
Okay. I won't say a word for now.
I mean, it was a small hobby. No, a small hobby. No, I just think it's a funny connection. But yeah, I hear you. It's like the difference between what other people are willing to value it as versus maybe what one's own perspective is. And that also is something that confuses and fascinates me to this day.
Yes, totally.
So, okay, so you find yourself back home, and then where does artisans, like, how did you stumble upon this crazy world?
Yeah, I mean, to bring up Pokemon again, I was like a big fan is like the wrong thing to say, but I really liked like Pink Guy, Max Mofo, and Joji back then. Oh, not, I mean Joji today, and also iDubbbz. And I think you know all the three, yeah, right? For sure. Okay.
Actually,
and
sorry, go on.
No. Tell me, please.
Before we recorded, I mean, this is probably like months ago. We briefly mentioned, and I had no idea who these three people was. My culture is I'm not very cultured, so I had to, I definitely had to look these people up. But anyway, sorry. I do now.
Okay. So I mean, they split a little bit. So everyone got like their own content, and Pink Guy got to get Joji, and iDubbbz doing like his stuff once in 2 months, and has like a girlfriend for OnlyFans, which is also nice. And Max mostly made like Pokemon content. So yeah, and he was like the only one who kind of uploaded stuff at that time. And as I had them all like on YouTube and check them out, there was this one day, which was pretty awesome, when Max bought himself a keyboard. And it was from Clavier. And it had, like, the main frame was a Ditto. Like the Pokemon Ditto, this, like, gummy bear or whatever. So at that time, I wasn't even, like, in Pokemon at all. I just watched Max content because I like Max. So Pokemon, I don't even care. But I think like, oh damn, there's someone who making like customized keyboards. That's pretty sweet. I mean, as I see like what he paid for it, I say, oh my god, you are so stupid. But you know, like, and then he pulled out more and more stuff out of the bag. It was kind of weird. There are like loose caps and things. Nowadays, I would call them switches. Back then, I thought like, what the fuck is this? This like dampening material. I don't know what it is. And yeah, and then the last thing he put out are like artisans. All, of course, Pokemon related. Everything he brought up was Pokemon related. There were like some encapsulated stuff, some Gengar, some whatever. Like most of us, we already knew, I guess, like a lot of the bigger makers, or like S-Craft, who does like the encapsulated stuff. And I thought like, what the fuck? That is great. I want to do what is that like at first glance? And yeah, he kind of linked, I think, most of the makers like on the video, and then I checked it. I realized people want to have $300 for it, and I thought this is a joke. this won't work for me. And yeah, then I think I don't know how it happened then, but I think 1 or 2 weeks later, I just had the word artisans in mind. Like I just want to know more about it. Like $300, what the fuck? There have to be like a clue behind it. And I thought, of course, like Pokemon are hyped. Maybe, I don't know. At first, I thought this is something that was like a thing in the 90s. Like those, like I thought like Nintendo maybe did those encapsulated Pokemons. I thought like this is something that was made like 20 years ago. Because he never put it on the keyboard. So I don't really realize, oh, these are really things that put on the board. And he'll never hold them that you can see the stem behind. So I couldn't make the connection. Yeah, and then I searched for it, and then I found, I don't know what was first, but what I can remember is that the first thing that really hits me was the videos from Glenn the Black on Instagram. Like, he put out so much knowledge, and even till today, like, I'm always so happy when we kind of be in contact and he drops stuff and I'm like, okay, Glenn, you know stuff and I don't know anything about anything. But yeah, I just realized there is so much craftsmanship and love inside these small objects, and I fell in love so goddamn fast. Yeah, that was like my introduction to artisans itself, and I just wanted to do them. I just challenged myself at that point. I had to.
So many jumping off points, and I can't.
Sorry for that.
No, you have nothing to apologize for, man. I'm only grateful, man. But you know, first of all, shout out to Glenn, man. You say big fan. You said big fan before. I'm a big fan of everything he's done. I've learned so much and continue to learn from him. I mean, he's done so much to contribute, and just awesome innovator.
Yes. I mean, that's always the problem. Like, there are so many people who helped me along the way. Like, it's always hard to mention one, and you always realize, there are so many people who helped you out.
Yes.
Like, one I always have to mention for me is like Andrew, who goes for Hungry Hustler. Like, he was someone who helped me out so much, and it was like, to me, the best thing. He never did something with like 3D design. I just have to mention it. And I was so grateful finally myself that I could show him stuff. Like, I just learned a lot from him, like from sculpting, but there was some day that I finally say, oh, I can show you something.
Yeah.
That was great. But yeah, there is like, I mean, at least everyone hopefully knows that I'm grateful for particularly this person because he helped me. Like, you know who I mean. I hope.
Yeah, shout out to Andrew of Hungry Hustler. If we were to take the time and acknowledge all of the people who've supported us and helped us come to where we are, we would fill up many episodes.
It's a long
sure.
thing. Yeah, totally. Yeah, just want to mention it. Like, I'm really happy that I got so much help and so many people I can terrorize with all this stuff that is in my head. So, yeah.
Terrorize with love and affection. Yes. Wait, so I'm curious. So early on, you mentioned you had this interest when you were first thinking about typography and blowing up paper on posters. Is like the idea of having these huge and these big canvases to work on, and now you're focused on these very, very small artisan services. And what was it about that? I mean, I heard you say craftsmanship and then the love that people put into it. Like, what was it specifically about artisans that grabbed you?
I mean, mostly, as I said before, for me, the challenge. I already realized this is something completely different than anything that I do before. Like, I would never pull out a sketchbook that is like, for Germany, it's like A4, like from the size. It's like the standard sheet of paper. I would never drew on that because it was always too tiny for me. It doesn't work out for me. So I always put out at least double the standard size. And then I thought like, oh, okay, but this is like 3-dimensional, which is already something that I never really did before. But I am not the shittiest in 3D sculpting. And
isn't
the
that
cool
you are
part,
good in 3D sculpting?
No. I don't want to say that.
So,
I don't want to say it.
Okay, I'm just listening.
I'm sorry. But the cool thing about 3D sculpting, at least when you do it like I did it back then with ZBrush, is you got like a whole big monitor before you and you can zoom in, and it is big at this point. So it is not crazy small and tiny. And that leads me into, I can do that. And I want to do something that got like a lot of details and a lot of stuff that I would bring up to an artisan that I would like to see. At that point, I didn't know there are always a lot of makers. I like still today, I'm not like on Reddit or Geekhack or whatever. I don't know all of that. Like I'm on Discord, and that's so lovely, like Zbud, oh my god. So, yeah, a lot of makers, but I didn't knew that there are anything out of it. I just knew about those Pokemon stuff, and that's it. And so, yeah, I just challenged myself and say like, okay, do something that you would like to see like on your keyboard. At that time, I don't even know that there is like an X stamp and whatsoever. I don't know shit. I just want to say like, do something that is square shaped and small. That's my approach. That's everything. Yeah, and I didn't knew that there is some cool stuff that Zeppy just put up and you can just get it for free. I mean, to hell, you can get it for free. You can print it out if you got a 3D printer and whatsoever. So yeah, I started first with clay, but the reason that did not work for me as good, because I mean the main problem for me of course was like I didn't have a base. I don't have anything. I just put like my keyboard, it was like a Logitech. It had like a completely weird design. It wasn't lean to cherry or something. It was like completely special for this keyboard, really like from the height, like just the half of it. I don't know. Like it was like a $10 keyboard. I don't know. So that was like the biggest problem, that I thought like a keycap have to be like half the size of like a Cherry MX standard cap. So yeah, I just tried myself with ZBrush, and then I come up with some of the stuff you might already have seen.
Which I'm eager to dive into, yeah. Again, and then shout out to Zappy, man. He's created so many opportunities for everybody else. And I mean, this just goes, if we were to thank everybody, I mean, Zebra community is a beautiful place, as you say. Yeah. I'm curious, why? So you have all this background in digital design, InDesign, Illustrator, ZBrush. Why did you choose clay?
I think mainly because this is the only thing that I could thought of right from the get-go that I can do now. Like there was a weekend and I think I was kind of ill or something. Like I hadn't something to do. I wasn't like completely that I have to stay in bed, but I was kind of dizzy and yeah, just want to do something. And I thought like, okay, this is something that I can just bought up, get shipped to me, and I got a free weekend and I want to try. Like I wanted like the same thing. Like I want to challenge myself. Like at the end of the weekend, I want to have something there. Of course, as I said, like everything surrounded this project was shitty from the get-go. So at the end of the day, I hadn't anything. Like I had something that was kind of a mask thing, but totally flat, as I thought like they have to be that flat. So I was completely depressed and tired and angry. But as soon as I realized that, I mean, of course I can do it in a 3D and I don't have to get it out there. Like, I just do it for me. Like, I don't care. And then, yeah, just to bring that up, the first thing I ever did was the kinky.
Like this was your first design.
Yes, this is the first thing I ever did. I don't know if you've seen it. I think it's on my Instagram, like the third post or something. I'm not sure. And it's really, I mean, people can tell like from the first design or the first approach to now, there's like a lot of things happen. I think I remade the Kinky 11 times from the first time to the last. And the last one even already had some clay on it. Like it's not just 3D printed. The leather stripes, they are clay. And the rest of it is 3D printed because I want to have another texture, another feeling for the leather. Yeah.
Yes, I know. I remember it's a pretty high detail sculpt.
Yes, it was, and way too tiny. Like I put it like at that time I thought of doing like a whole mask, like a whole like leather mask, and you see like where the eyes are, where the nose is, and the gag ball is in the mouth, and then the leather straps goes to the right, and then I even add 3 different zippers. And those zippers, they are like micro tiny. Like, I think like when you got like the STL printer, like Mac uses, like from Archetype, maybe he could print it. I could afford like I don't know how fucking much this printer costs, but even today, I couldn't afford it at all. But, yeah, just to get this up, like, sculpting, bullshit, wasn't working at all for me. Then I thought like, okay, I can do ZBrush. By the way, I never used ZBrush in any agency. Never asked me for that. Like I totally brought that up myself. Like I was really interested in that thing because I was lived like in a really big old house where I studied, and we shared the whole house with 9 different peoples. So like a flat that was shared. And everything studied something. And one, I don't know, like half a year, there was someone there who, I think he studied industry design and worked like for a health company. I don't know. So he does like safety masks and goggles and whatsoever. And he used that 3D printer, which was like, at that time, I was blown away. Today we would say like pretty shitty, but at that time for me, like, doing an object in 3D and print it out and have it in your hands was like amazing. So he kind of brought me into, I want to learn that. So at that time, I think ZBrush, I don't know, 2.1 or so was out. Like compared to what we can do to now, it's a whole nother world. But yeah, I just get into that like while I studied back then. And then I never touched it again through to all the overwork and like the agency because no one asked me to do it. Like they even know that I can do some stuff with it, but there was no need. And yeah, and then there were the artisans, and I thought like, hey, I got this non-legal version of a program called whatever.
Free
maybe
version. Free version.
Yeah, right, the legal free version,
People's version.
Yeah, so maybe I can try that. And yeah, I just put stuff on there, and then I came up with the Kinky, and then I said like, okay, I need to get this out now. I want to have it in my hand, like that's the main point of it. And at that time, I getting more into like, I didn't have like an Instagram account or something. So I just searched more for artisans, and I just learned like, okay, you can get on Geekhack. So a lot of links are going to Geekhack. And I was like, oh my, that is too much for me. Like I already turned like 29. Like I'm too old for that shit. So like Geekhack totally, it wasn't for me. Like I couldn't do it. But then there was Instagram. I never had an account like or anything. Even as I work in marketing, no one believes it, but yeah, I don't like it. Or back then I don't like it. Now, of course, I like it because everyone can terrorize me and I can terrorize them back. So I'm happy with it. But as soon as I realized, okay, Instagram, there are a lot of makers and they are all sharing so many sculpts. Crazy to me. Like, I just have to realize they are not just sharing sculpts. They are like, to me, like every week there are like the same sculpts in other colors. How cool is that? Like all new to me. And then, I just was challenged to the situation of how the hell I get out this design of the kinky that I had. And I, yet again went back to the bank account that is still yelling at me and said, okay, I need to buy a printer. And I buy the cheapest used off eBay Anycubic photon printer for €100. I'm not sure, like crazy cheap. And I got it, and it printed out stuff, and it was complete shit. I mean, this printer, you have to realize, like, this display of this STL printer was so small that the print lines are, you can make music with it just from scratching it. Like, the print lines are like so terrible and was so hard. Yes. But at that time, I didn't knew. Like, I thought like everyone is doing like that. Like, everyone prints these out and then use some kind of, I don't know, magic and chemicals and whatever to make them clean. But at that time I didn't realize that they aren't STL printed. Like, some people are just doing like silicone molds. What the fuck? Like, thanks to Glenn, like, damn those silicone.
Yes.
And some people printed and painted them. Some people just print them. Some people have like really cool ideas on half printed, half painted, half resin encapsulated, whatsoever. Like, creative, top notch, awesome. And I just figured out, like, I printed, the printer was shit, my bank account's still yelling for the better printer for €400, which then got a monochromic display with like 4K, I think. I'm not sure. Like, all the struggles. I've been through, like, I hit my door 2 times and put a hole in it because, like, I was so damn angry. Like, silicone doesn't cure. I just put like not like, I put the A stuff from my polyurethane in it, but forget the B. Just put it like in the pressure pot. I even, like, when I started out, I was pretty broke, so I started everything like as cheap as possible. So I just bought like a vacuum chamber, no pressure pot, just vacuum chamber. So just pull out the bubbles from the silicone and the resin itself and let it sit in the vacuum chamber, which is kind of bubbly at the end of the day. One thing I really would like to mention, because a lot of people never believe me, but as I was pretty broke and still kind of are, I only use spray paint pigments. Only. So of course, like, now I already tried other stuff, but everything, I mean, no one will see it because this one is like mostly a podcast, but you will see it now. Like, everything behind me now are just spray paints. Like, there are a lot of brands that I tried out and a lot of polyurethanes. And I kind of find a solution that it won't get too hot, which always can make a lot of problems, mostly because of air and stuff. And everything you got from me is made with spray paint. Just so you know.
So I'm so curious. You mentioned so many things.
I'm so sorry. I talked a lot now. Oh,
man, please. No, I'm so grateful that you do. This is just so I can make mental bookmarks. You talk about like finding the artisans and then your approach with your challenge and learning it. You also mentioned your process for learning ZBrush and going through that.
Yes.
Yes. And then, you mentioned many different things like learning the whole printing process. And then I'm curious, just to wrap this up, you mentioned spray paint pigments. How do you get the spray paint into your resin?
So I start with part A, just measure it with a scale, and then I take 10% of it, and then I spray with like a long nozzle the color in another cup, then measure that, look up for that it is 10%, then pour it in, and then put part B into it, stir it like crazy. And then I mostly got like a time frame of 9 minutes. That's the maximum because it hardens pretty fast. I just had to use, that's pretty interesting. The polyurethane that I use hardens in 3 minutes. But because of whatever chemicals are in particular, that spray paint that works finally makes the time and the frame that I can work with up to 9 to 10 minutes. So it thins the resin a little bit. And yeah, I had to figure out that just because I couldn't afford that many pigments, like good pigments that really would work and are just like pretty cheap and don't really hold a good amount of color in it. So yeah, spray paints are the way to go back then, or even now. Like even today, I'm doing so. Yeah, the only one who believed me was Glenn, because Glenn knows everything. But yeah, everyone else just don't believe me.
One thing I'm curious, what did it look like? How do you go from your idea for your kinky design to the finished product? Where you mentioned that you're working in ZBrush, you have the 3D printing. Do you start with like a drawing, like a hand sketch, or is it all digital?
So I went to like a BDSM shop in Hamburg and like looked up some stuff. Like I really want to, like, this is like the first thing. I hope I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but when I figured out artisans, the first everything that shines in my face was cute, and I'm really not crazy into cute stuff. Like for me, like especially when we are talking like about keyboards that are worth a lot of money, I don't see, just for myself, like really just for myself, but I don't see cute stuff on this. Like mostly anything that is like, I like it cruel, I like it a little bit more nasty and whatsoever. Like this just resonates with me way more. Like something that maybe I think even about touching it, because I'm not sure what is that. Like I like that. I like that feeling a lot, that when you don't really know what you are getting into at the moment. So yeah, that's I went to the BDSM shop. I just looked up like some mask and like this leather things and so ever, and then I searched on Google and tried to figure out every product itself, because like a gag ball, there is 1,000 different gag balls. What the fuck? And even you can exchange the leather and the materials and the zippers. And some people, I don't know how some people are even getting some kind of air through. There are no holes, so I don't know shit about that. But yeah, stuff is happening in some bedrooms, so I'm fine with that. But yeah, I just want to make that, and I just had the feeling of like I want to do like a whole face, but make it like it looks like there's leather on top of it, and then just a gag ball, and it should feel really like it's not a happy thing to do. Like it should feel a little bit scared and a little bit hard. Like that was my approach. And yeah, I think like for the first design that I did, it was good. I totally am, maybe for the people that might see it, I really just took what is it, like you can do those, I already did that back then with the lithography with your camera. Like you can go around an object and then you make, and this is how I made like my, yeah, right. And this is like how I made my first keycap. So I didn't have any object or STL file. I just somehow made it myself. It looked pretty shitty, but I thought like, oh yeah, that's like a starting point. I can work with that. And so that's why at first I made the kinky like it should be a face, which of course is like more organic and more round shaped. But I couldn't do it with that file that I made up with my camera because everything was kind of shitty. So I thought, okay, whatever. I just put some kind of layer on top of that, scale it over, and I somehow will figure it out how to print it and make like a glossy finish. So it looks like the leather mask and whatsoever. Yeah, and that at the end of the day become my first kinky who never, I think I never really made any resin model of it. Never. I just printed out once and it doesn't work at all. And that's everything.
Oh man, you should see the first designs that I made. No way. I mean, first of all, they're terrible sculpts, and they had no business being on a keyboard. I'll shoot you.
Yeah, you got photos of that? I would
send you
love
those
to
photos.
see it. Okay,
Yes.
we can share. That's a good trade. Like that's the second trade we are going for. I
Yes.
like that.
Many to come. Many to come.
Totally.
How did you choose BDSM harsh for your keycap design?
Yeah, I think it's not that easy to say. Like I always like I was always like pretty much sexual positive. Like I think like most of the world like still now have like some kind of like a visor in front of the face when anything is about something sexual and so on. And I always hate it. Like I always think like, what the fuck, guys? Like you always doing stuff at home and watching whatever porn. And, like just stand for it. Like do your thing. Like do what you like. And why don't share? Like, I mean, some people are like taking, I don't know, some kind of retreats, like getting asked, like, what do you want? How you like it? And so on. And I think like that's pretty cool. Like I always had respect for it. And when I first like get into artisans, and I said like everything was cute, I thought like, what's the opposite? Like, let's do the opposite. And the first thing that I really ever did, but that was just like a sketch I had in mind, I never like made it in ZBrush itself, was a cat with a gag ball. Because I saw so many cats back then with artisans. And I thought like, oh, that's some kind of a funny idea. Like turn it into the opposite, do like leather strap and a gag ball. And I think I had like dildo as ears. I don't know. It was pretty freaky. But yeah, I never really did that. Because I think like the cat face is like more oval shaped. And at that time, I just don't know the measure. So I didn't even try. So I thought like, oh, it's pretty cool to just use like a human face that is more shaped for the artisan. It works better, especially with the mask, so you can do everything you want with it. Yeah, that's how I ended up with that and with the not so cute design for the first artist.
Okay, so I have to ask, do you practice BDSM?
Oh, I did, but it's a long time ago, with an ex-girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was more from her side, not from mine. But like, I'm pretty much free for like everything. Like, especially like don't like hit me hard with like anything, steel on your knuckles in my face. Like, nah, I think it won't make that much for me. But yeah, I'm pretty free for it. Like, I mean, it wouldn't be weird, I would say, if I would be like a crazy shy boy and still doing some BDSM artisan. I think it would work out. But more on the, like, I'm not like Spank Daddy, you know, like I'm like BDSM cool, yes. Totally, but like you don't have to smash another person.
Pain is yeah, I hear that.
It's not necessary. But I don't want to blame anyone. So that's like the main point for it. Like everyone should do what he likes as long as no one get hurt and as long as everyone who is involved is kind of fine with it. I hope that answers your question.
If people are willing, that it's, the willingness and openness.
Yes.
No, I hear you. It's like, open to new experiences. And as you said, I hear you say you're very sexually positive. And I was just curious. I mean, this is new territory for me. So, back to taking out those bookmarks. Because one thing I've been thinking about a lot is I've been working in Blender and doing digital sculpting, and oh my gosh, it's a major challenge. Just changing the way I'm thinking from sculpting in clay to realizing that in digital. I mean, there's like one aspect of modeling and there's sculpting. I'm not going to get into it too much, but I'm curious, when you found ZBrush with your roommate you were living with, what did your learning process look like for how you were familiarizing yourself with the software?
First of all, like my roommate, funny enough, also used Blender. So he did not use ZBrush. He just told me there is also ZBrush, and he got the example of, people like in the movie industry, like for, I think, what is like the movie with Jack Sparrow? What is it?
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean. Thanks.
Yeah.
That Davy Jones, that was made with ZBrush. That's what he told me, and I thought like,
Okay.
oh damn! And you can use that as like a private person and get access to something that can make
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, there's like a lot of filters and movie stuff and After Effects and whatsoever, but at the end of the day, like the main like mask and shape and so on was made in ZBrush. And yeah, he just told me, and then I figured out. I started with Blender, but Blender to me is like really good for hard surfaces, but I can't do any organic stuff with it. Like never. Like to me, I wouldn't use Blender for it. Like I would always go for ZBrush. And for everyone who ever thinks about doing it but don't want to spend like a crazy amount for like a legal version on ZBrush or anything else, I always say like try Nomad Sculpt.
Nomad.
I think it's only out for Android and iOS, like only on mobile devices. There is no PC version for anyone who's thinking about that. But I recently using that more than ZBrush because like when I'm like on the ride or on the get-go or just on the train or whatsoever, it's so damn easy. Like the thing, I don't know how they do it because the team is really small, but they pump out like updates every month and it gets better and better and better. And especially I think the newer iPads, like they got enough RAM that this program really does a lot of stuff. Like you can raise the amount of polygons so high that you finally can do so crazy good details on a freaking iPad. Like even I don't know if we mentioned it at the start, but when talking about designs, I already did I already did and still doing like Maker's Mark for other makers. Like I'm crazy honored to do those. And at the moment, it's easier for me to do those in Nomad than in ZBrush because there are some ways and some techniques you can do that makes it easier to do than in Nomad just with my iPad. Of course, because like I can draw on the surface itself, and on the other hand, I just have to use my mouse on the monitor. But it's crazy cool program, and it just costs like $16 or so.
Huh. What kind of tablet are you using? You said iPad?
I got an iPad.
What kind of iPad? I don't know. See, for me, I got a Wacom tablet is what I've been using on PC, and
yeah.
The reason why I use Blender is, as you said, it's free, so it's more like if I'm willing to commit to this is like the experiment, and I'm curious because tablet just seems way more intuitive, being able to sculpt or draw directly on it.
So let me say, so I updated my iPad. I don't know when, like a month ago or so. I'm not sure. Like got a newer one, but just if you're interested, before I bought myself a used iPad, the iPad Pro from 2012. Like we don't talk like, like it's 8 years old or 9 years old, and it runs perfectly.
Okay.
Like and I think you can buy a used iPad Pro from that time for I don't know, like under $100. So.
Wow.
That's totally fine. Like, as I said, like, I don't have like a crazy ton of money, so I'm still searching for something like that. But it works. It just works. It just works.
So yeah,
I can send you. Like, I will search that up what I have and just send you.
Oh yeah, that'd be really helpful. Thank you.
Sure.
So how did you learn ZBrush? Was it following your roommate, or did you have a course, or was it a YouTube video?
Yeah, it was mainly a YouTube video. There is one video out. It's called, I'm not sure. It's like a whole course made in 7 tiles, I think. I'm not sure. And it's something that's called blah, 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 blood and wine. Something like that. And it's kind of funny because the guy who made that video had this Davy Jones from the movie in mind, but made some kind of a comic character who got like a bottle of wine, which got zipped over, and some tentacles. So it's a really good character to sculpt because you have to do a lot of stuff that you normally won't do when you do a human. So it's a pretty, it's not like a good starting point, I think, But at that time, when I figured out ZBrush is even out there, there wasn't that much on YouTube. Like, it wasn't the time of YouTube where everything was on there, like as we got it now. So this was one of the few. Of course, everything is English. I mean, for most of the people that hearing this, English is pretty fine. For me at that point, especially when there is something who talks about it really professional. I don't know shit what the man is doing. Like, sometimes I just put it on mute, just get backwards, and just make everything exactly that he's doing because I don't understand what he's saying. But at the end of the day, I can even see it. Even, I mean, it was so long ago. I think the biggest pixel I can use for YouTube back then was 480p. So that shitty was a video, but I still managed to make it.
We've come a long ways.
Yes. Totally.
So we talk about 3D printing and your approach to keycaps. Oh, this is when we can go deep for keycaps. We haven't even scratched the surface. All right, yeah. So I guess looking at the beginning of your journey, once you realized your original kinky design and you're learning the different processes, 3D printing, resin, where did you go from there? I mean, now you have so many different designs, and I mean, you've expanded your portfolio, like you said, to making maker's marks. I've seen you do set collabs, and you're all over the place.
Yeah, I heard that a lot. To me, it's still like, I can't believe it how things are somehow evolving. Like, I'm still working. Like, it's not that anything of it is like my main thing. Like, I don't do artisans as like my main income or like designer whatsoever. I still got my job, and mostly on weekends I try to figure out stuff for other people, which to me, I like it. That's the problem. Like, I'm feeling good about it, especially since I'm in the hobby. Like, I mean, at this point, I think I finished 5 different corporate designs for other makers. None of it is revealed, so I won't tell who it is, but all of you will see when all of them are ready. Everyone just gotten such good friends. It's so crazy, like, who and which people I get. I mean, it's fucking me. Like, I'm not even 1 year in the hobby, and people reaching out, and it's crazy. And yeah, I do logos, corporate designs. I did Maker's Mark, which for me was like, I was so afraid at first when I do it the first time, because like, I thought, damn, that's like logo, but 3D inside the Maker's Mark. What the fuck? Like, that was pretty tough when I started out first. I'm already happy that I did like a ton of Maker's Mark just for myself till I end up with one that I was fine someday. But yeah. Like, I even I even challenged myself. I started for 2 people to animate the logo because I had a cool idea to animate an After Effect. And then I ended up, oh damn, when I do my portfolio, it's kind of shitty for the other people who don't have an animated logo. So I kind of animated for everyone.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you all will see, like, whenever they come out with it, like, I tell all of them, like, take your time, teaser it a bit, like, do something cool about it. And to be honest, like, most of them just already uploaded the new logo.
Too excited.
Yes. It was so great. I love them all. I'm so honored to be around so many good, willing people. It's insane. It's insane. And I'm even so happy. Like, this is, it seems like I'm jumping from a challenge to a challenge, but this is also something I started just sending out voice messages over on Insta and Discord because I felt my English is so terrible. And the main thought that I had is like, okay, when your English is terrible, then you have to speak more English. So I just thought of, okay, let's go. Let's terrorize everyone with your shitty half German, half English till you finally can make any sentence that someone, I won't say appreciate, but at least you understand what I want.
Oh man, I laugh just thinking because I've been fortunate to be terrorized by you with your voicemails, and I mean every time. I
Yeah,
think I told you this the other day. Like every time I hear them, it just makes me either smile or laugh. And again, I mean, hey, if that's just you practicing your English, then you're adding a lot more to it, more value to it than that.
totally, totally. But at least when I can make you laugh, like I'm fine with it.
One of your designs really struck me. Can you tell me more about your psychosis?
Yes, I can. I will. Um, I think yeah, right. I first made the 1U. This is the first time I even made like a. I think it was for my enter key, like 2.25U. I'm not really sure. So yeah, I really want to make those two because like at that time I think I already had like 6 or 5 sculpts. I'm sure like the Chewy was a commission, the 2 bears were a commission, the Kinky totally come from myself, and the Psychosis totally come from myself. Right. Yeah, makes sense. And yeah, the Psychosis was one thing that I thought like I always like dreamed about the situation like when I was 14. I had a brain tumor or brain cancer. I don't know how to say it. So I was a really long time in hospital and had a psychiatrist after it just to get back in life and just like reschedule some stuff and just realize what's happening to you and your surroundings and everything. And I was there like I think 8 months, 9 months in total. I'm not sure. I mean, I already was out of hospital, but I mean, it was some kind of struggle. It wasn't like the easiest thing for me. Like have like a operation on the brain. It's you don't have to do it. Like it's not a must in your life. It's not on the bucket list, I would say. Um, but I was at the psychiatrist, and I always sit on those chairs, like those psychoses, like those knitted in-depth chairs, like big, strong leather. It was red, and I always remember that, but with a good feeling, not a bad one, because the psychiatrist was really good from my perspective. Um, and I thought like, oh, that's cool, and I just made it for myself and it laid there and I always seen that oh man that's interesting, like I really liked it and I thought of it like there is stuff a lot of people always talk about like what is an artisan, like some say this is a novelty and this is an artisan or whatsoever, and I always saw the psychosis and thought like it's a keycap with a texture, not more, like it's not something really new or like a sculpt that really pops from the detail. It's just like it got those texture on it, but it works like for me, from my perspective, it works really good on so many boards that I've seen because of course you can just color match whatever is on there. But on the other hand, it just fades into the whole key set so easily. And that's why I really like the Psychosis. And at the end of the day, it was the first thing that had like a really personal touch for me. Like, of course, like the BDSM kinky still is something that is personal for me, but more a gag ball, whatever thing. But that Psychosis was like, I just bring that up, and without the story, it's still something people might like. Like for me, it's something crazy personal, but for other people, maybe it's something that is like pretty simplistic. And as I really like simplistic, as you may can tell even from my other sculpts, yeah, it's just it works. Even it totally falls out from every other thing that I already did. Like it's pretty on its own, but I like it. I like it.
Yeah, what was that like for you? I mean, you're 14 and then you're told that you have this brain tumor. Like, how did you feel at the time?
So, when we figured that out, the first thing that happened was like I was in math and we had like an what is it? Um, like a work for math. I don't know the name for it at the moment. Whatever. But
Exercise, like
yeah, right. Just an exercise. And I was pretty bad at math at that time, and I already sneaked out that class and those exercises, and always had something of, oh, I can't do it, oh, I'm ill, whatsoever. And at that time, I had like everything suddenly went violet, like everything was like bluish, reddish, whatsoever, like a filter, like over my eyes, and my right arm and my right leg fall asleep just now, like totally fall asleep. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? And I just told him, I don't know what's happening with me, but I have to go out there. And he was like, yeah, of course. But yeah, then I started to shake a little bit and vomit inside the class, which kind of leads him to, okay, maybe he really got a problem. And yeah, and then I gotten home. I can't remember how. I was really kind of, I wasn't blacked out, but I still couldn't remember, so it's kind of hard to tell. But yeah, then I gotten home, and then it was a little bit weird. I was at three doctors, and all of those just told me I got like, do you say migraine in English? Like those hard, yeah, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, right. They told me like I got that, and I was all of my family was like, what the fuck? Like this is not normal for someone who got that. But they told me like I got it, and then there was one day where I had the same situation, still shaking, but riding my bike. And I totally just fell over and had a pretty hard crash. And so my mother just said like, oh, we have to like check him more. Like this can't be possible. And then I just got to the, still something, I don't know if it's word for English, like an MRT, like where you get scanned and your whole body will get sliced. Yeah, right.
Oh.
And I had that, and yeah, the doctor came after it and said like, okay, your son have to stay here, and we have to move him to a bigger hospital because he got a tumor beside of both of his brain sides. Yeah, and then I got into hospital and was operated just 5 days later. Like it was pretty, yeah, it was pretty fast because like it was how to say it, like the problem was that the tumor itself was growing really fast. That was like the main situation, and the tumor itself pointed out to like my, it seemed like my eye sensor and like parts of the body. That's why like I always get kind of black out and have those like bluish filter, and as I said, like one side of my body always fall asleep like out of nowhere. Yeah.
And still? Or leading up to?
What do you mean?
Does that still happen, or was that just leading up to?
No. It was just leading up to the tumor. And then when I was operated, I mean, I still like they kind of hit my eye nerve. That's why I need goggles. Like it's not because I need them. It's just because due to the operation, it's like it's not that much space in the brain, so it can happen. Yeah, but that's all I think that kind of bad out of there. Yeah, mostly I would say. I mean, of course, it wasn't like the coolest thing, and I was out of school for a whole year. But yeah, it happens.
How did you process that? Because 5 days turnaround is really fast. Yeah. I mean, you had these symptoms leading up to it, and then on top of that, you had the 8-month, 9-month, a year process of recovery. Like, yeah, how did you go through that? How did you process that?
That's hard to tell. Like, my mother was always there. Like, to be honest, now I just would need to ask her again how the hell she did it with work. I don't know if she just got free and still got paid, or if she quit it and then got back again, because she still had the job when we got back into home. So, but I don't really remember like right now. But she was there all the time. Yeah, I just got visit by my friends, but I could just got visit like 3 months after everything, because I have to like learn how to walk again and stuff, because like I lay so long in bed that all of my muscles are like gone. Like I don't know how much I weighed back then. I think it was like 50 kilograms. It's like pretty much nothing. So yeah, I have to learn a lot again. And yeah, I mean, my friends were around. I just watched Harry Potter over and over again. Like, till today, I really don't like those movies, but back then they were like pretty long and pretty much fit my situation back then. Yeah, and then I mean, like to bring it in a good perspective. When I got out of the hospital, there was some kind of still something that I don't know how to pronounce, but like some kind of a vacation. So when you get ill, just getting better, and there are all peoples are there just somehow had some kind of a big operation.
Okay.
Like a rehab, but I don't know the word for it. But there are a lot of people that had like cancer or other tumors or whatsoever, and all could bring up their family. And so we all had some like sport educations or like trips going out there, just having a good time, like, and get back to your physics. And it seemed like, and that was something that made me kind of proud, because there were a lot of people, of course, they were depressed because they had to gone through a lot of stuff. But the cool thing for me is like all the people, like the brothers and sisters and the parents from those people who were ill, asked me why I am here. Like, is my mother the one who is ill, or is it my sister or anyone else? They don't realize that I was the one who had it, because I somehow, however I did it, maybe through my psychologist, I'm not sure, but it showed like I was good. Like of course, like my hair was cut, but it seemed like it fit. So it doesn't look like, I mean, of course, like from behind, you can see a big scar in my head, like, and back then it still have to like get back to the normal shape, because I have like like a metal plate on it, because they had some kind cut out of the bone of the head, and replace it. But yeah, besides like the hair that I did not had at that time, yeah, it seemed like I was like, yeah, I was pretty good. I was still making jokes about myself till today. Yeah, so it turns out really well, and even today, like, of course, I can remember a lot of things from it, and a lot of stuff was pretty. I don't need it to do it again, but yeah, I got out pretty good, and I'm really happy that everything works out. And I mean, I think that's for a lot of people who got ill. Like, I was way more afraid of my parents, like how they react, because like their child was like in a bed, and they were the ones who got told from the doctor how everything works out. Like, I wasn't told like the operation was pretty difficult and some things will happen. Nobody told me that, because of course I'm like a pretty young child, and maybe it's not good for me to know it. But of course my parents have to signature those operations and have to say like, yeah, you have to do it. And so like, from my perspective, I was more afraid of that my parents getting totally crazy from everything.
For them, yeah.
Yes, but yeah, even now I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, I mean you're good. Yeah. Huh. I hear you say you went through this process. You went to like the recovery center with the outings, the trips, and you got that confirmation, the feedback that, oh yeah, like I'm coming back to it. I'm feeling good. Did that experience change the way you felt or approached what you were doing, or like what your future would be like? It's a significant event. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it changed that. Like, back before the operation, I was more shy, I think, and I wasn't so, like, I don't had the ego, or not, like I wasn't like really communicating to a lot of people. Like, I was more on the backside. And after it, I thought of like, what the fuck? Like, do what you want. Like, from now on, I don't care about what happened. Like, the first thing I did, which was pretty dumb, I had like I was so much in hospital in my life. Earlier, like when I was 8, I had something with my ear, so I just hear with one ear. Totally not to do with the brain tumor whatsoever, but there was another surgery, and I can't dive. Like I'm like flying with a plane is already bad, so I have to take a lot of medicine, but I can't dive down to water because like of the pressure. But the first thing that I did after the brain surgery was I'm going to like a swimming pool and dive. I don't know why, but I had to do it. And I was pretty fucked up after it, but yeah, that was like my situation back then. Like I was really like, I did that, I'm gone through this. Like what the hell should happen next to me? Like I don't know. So yeah, I just did everything that I wanted at that time. My mother was pretty cool. She just were kind of same. Like he was afraid of me, but he understand like my point of view at that time. Like I gone through a lot of stuff, so let him just do whatever he pleases and don't give a fuck about like school and whatsoever. Like I mean, I still came through kind of good, I would say. Like I it's not that I totally was like on heroin and just stand anywhere outside of class and fuck about everything, but yeah, I gone through everything and had a lot of fun when I was younger, and still today I really appreciate that my mother yeah, let me do like whatever, yeah, whatever was fine. And this is also something that I think was pretty cool. That leads to not getting like crazy into drugs. Like, of course, I tried a lot. Like, I think what or like put me in the most, like I did a ayahuasca retreat. If you know what, yeah, that was like awesome. And my mother totally supported it. Like, and that to me totally leads into I try everything, but that's it. And to me, that was awesome. Like, of course, I was pretty early, pretty drunk, and I tried weed pretty early, and I did a lot of stuff pretty early. But due to the fact that I came home and my mother was like, dude, as long as you don't break your neck, I'm pretty much good with it.
Yes.
That was pretty chill for me. Like, there was no fighting, there was no arguing. And yeah, that helped me a lot. And still today, like, I'm kind of drinking really, really, like, about 3 times a year. I'm not sure, like, you know, like most on parties and stuff. And yeah, there's nothing that I'm not smoking. I'm doing nothing. I'm boring. I'm really boring.
Maybe from your perspective, but yeah,
I mean it's a good thing. But yeah,
yeah. I mean, going through that traumatic experience, then being able to go and try other things you like and kind of pursue your interests is a beautiful journey that your mom supported for sure.
Yes, so I'm so thankful for her that she did that and she brought me through everything.
So if you have this you to try different things and explore other experiences, really new experiences, what is it about keycaps that's kept you in it so far?
I mean, maybe the answer is somewhere else, because yes, I'm doing keycaps, that's right. But at the same time, I do those candles, or I do those resin casted pins that are shaped by my sculpts. And I do like those packaging, and I do like other Maker's Mark, or do like the 20th attempt for my own Maker's Mark. Like, I think when I would just do artisans, that wouldn't be enough. This is like also, I hope I don't get to something that you might already want to ask, but that's the reason why I do only commissions. Like, you know, I don't sell anything. I don't do badges at all. I only do commissions, that everything. Like, people just have to reach out to me. That's like a big wall they already have to climb. Like, get in touch with this crazy idiot who do completely useless nonsense. And get in touch with me. And yeah, I think, like, even to me, I think it's so cool when people ask me for a kinky. Like, I always think, like, man, that's dope. Like, when I see collections, often those kinky looks kind of off, which to me is cool, but I can tell, like, some people can, or I think, like, some people say, like, oh, damn, I don't want that Paul gag BDSM. Like, what the fuck? Give me a cat.
Yeah, the cute cat. Yeah, yeah.
Right. So this is something. I can tell you the reason why I did commissions only. To me, commissions only gives me the really good feeling of the one who asking for it really wants it. And this is something that to me, like that I criticize a little bit inside the community is all this hype stuff. Like, I'm really not into it. Like, of course, some people could argue like, oh, you do totally just like limited stuff. Like, I mostly just do one-of-ones, of course, because it's a commission. But I mean, when someone would ask like, oh, I want this kinky in this colorway 20 times, like, I could do it, but what's the sense behind it? Like, there is no reason behind it. But I'm so grateful for the people who commission stuff because I learn a lot. That's the coolest thing. Like, I'm like 9 or 10 months into the hobby now, and I learned so much just through those commissions because some people got wishes no one could do those. But it's cool to say like, okay, that's what you're wishing for. This is what I can. I'm not. I'm okay, so maybe I can broaden it up a little bit. And the problem is, I already got some kind of like an artistic feeling about everything. So I'm such an asshole. So when someone said, "Oh, that's my commission," I say, "Okay, I will do it." And then 2 weeks later, I say like, I don't really like what you wished for. I did something else. So yeah, what do you think about that? And I do it a lot. Like, I was really happy when I made, I don't know if you know that one, but I made like a Tiffany turquoise colorway with those tampons, with those like blue-blooded tampons. And the one who asked for it wanted something a little bit different. But I had this idea and I had to do it. Like, I don't even let him argue anything. Like, I was like, in that perspective, I was a shitty service maker. I don't know. Like, I just had the idea in mind and I told him like, okay, let me do this 2 weeks. And when you really think that's totally crap, like, I can exchange a little bit, but let me do it. Like, I really like it. And I think it ended up pretty well. I did like I don't know how to say it, it's like a BDSM mask for the ball. Like, like my ball for the kinky is exchangeable. So I always do like a new sculpt just for the ball itself. So I don't do just colorways, but I do a whole new sculpt just for the ball. And on the ball, there was this like devilish little mask that just lays over the eyes. Right. And I thought like, oh, that's so like naughty Tiffany. Like, I thought that fits so much, like, here the same, like the opposite of the brand that I had in mind when I think about Tiffany. And that was like awesome. And he liked it. Like, he took like 2 artisans. And that is the craziest to me. I know some people take like X amount for like commissions. And like, for me, it's like $60 to $70 for a commission, like one-of-one. And I know that's cheap, but at first glance, like, I learn a lot, like even today, and that makes me pretty happy. And that's crazy, and I'm so thankful for that. People tip me like crazy. That's so unbelievable. Like, of course, they realize maybe they got like commissions from other artisan makers and paid more, but you can't believe like I made those titties and the ass with the butt plug in it.
The butt plug, yeah.
Yeah, and these were like sculpting commissions, which is of course like even way more crazy. But the dude, he's awesome. Like, I call him the anonymous pander. He knows what I'm talking about. He tipped me like, I think, the 3rd time or 4th time that I was asked for, like, out of nowhere. And then I tried to send it back, And I sent it back, and he said, "You idiot! You just spent X amount of money just for the fucking PayPal fees again." And then he re-sended me, so we paid
Yes.
PayPal 3 times, and then he said, "Just take the fucking money."
Yes.
That was crazy. So yeah, people just tipped me a crazy, or some asked me for like, "Oh, I wanna have a kinky, and I got this Alice style keyboard. Do you want to trade?" And I was like, "Damn, that's way." I feel like that's a little bit much. Like, and of course, like he said, "Oh, it was just like $100." But at the same time, for me, like an Alice board for me is like the coolest design of a keyboard. Like, I'm not crazy much into keyboards, like totally not. Like when I entered the hobby, I got myself a Keychron. That's it, and I'm even fine with that. And now I got this Alice board because I made the guide to kinkies, but man, yeah, the community is great, and that people are just fine with what I'm doing and just reach out. And I think that's way harder to. I mean, that's way more complicated. Like, I don't have like a site going on and say like, "Hey, look, I got a batch of 20 kinkies. You want to buy it?" That's easy. And to me, people have to go and say like, "Oh my God, this dude can't even talk English," and then I have to tell him like, "Oh, I want a keycap, yes, right," and I wanted a color. Do you know what multi-shot is? What's
Yes.
like that's crazy. And so I'm really grateful. And I like to learn. Like I'm always happy to learn using new materials. And I mean the commissions gotten a little bit too much, because I think the last 20 kinkies, mostly kinkies that I did, are all commissioned. But I totally did not make any design myself. Like I totally lost it. The last thing I did was like 3 weeks ago, was like a bullied kinky that has like beaten out 2 teeth. And the skin was like pretty terrible. This was like the only design I finally did for a long time myself. But yeah, I will get back there.
That makes me think of two things. I mean, you say that people are fine with your designs, but I think even more than that, it's recognize the value, the intention, your entire approach to your craft, and the willingness to support you beyond what you may be charging for the commissions. And I've heard you talk about this too. It's like the idea of what value is, and it may not necessarily be the product itself, but be it the person behind it, or even the ideas, or the idea behind that is so important. And at the same time, I hear you say, or I hear you speaking kind of in like a very self-deprecating, in a humorous way. I mean, you're the idiot, you're worthless, and I challenge you on that. So I hear these two kind of opposing ideas where you are offering this value. You have this expertise. You may be 8-9 months in the hobby, yet you have this 10 years plus of experience that you're still creating and developing outside of it. And you're bringing that to artisans, or even broader than artisans. And I was just curious how you think of, or like even balance, if you balance those, where you're checking yourself with your humorous negative self-talk, and still you're providing crazy value for people who recognize it.
I don't think that both compare each other, because like somehow with like the kinky somehow is this kind of humor, like when you put it out there. I already knew that most of the people who are like mainly in the cute stuff won't feel like, oh yeah, I really want to have this. Like I already got like a lot of messages where people told me like, this doesn't should be here in the hobby. Like people really write messages to me and told me, dude, what the fuck is this, and why are you doing this, and this won't it's not okay. Like who the fuck are you to tell me what I should do? But but I mean, for me it was some kind of a cool thing, because this resonates with me. This was like, yeah, cool. You don't like it? That's not a bad thing. Like that's, at first it made a feeling. And I think is such a cool part for doing an object, and someone is like, oh, that's way over my comfort zone. That's cool. Like, I think that's a cool thing to accomplish. And it's not easy. Like I already tried new stuff and tried to get more into those kinky-ish whatever lane that I started, and I think I kind of matched it good with the ass and the titties that I did, and the butt plug and whatsoever. Like the butt plug, I'm so proud. Like I bought those really tiny plastic, no glass diamonds, and I put it on top of the butt plug because like the more expensive butt plug got those. And I thought like, oh, that's cool. That's a cool detail. That was the same. Like all people also tell me like, oh, that's inappropriate. That's whatsoever. And I think like, oh, finally, I made something again that made people like, ooh, what is happening here?
Yeah.
And I think that's good. I really like it. So I think this humoristic and I kind of bash myself also brought up this kind of design and this kind of come on guys, let's I put out those and now what you want to do? Like it's out there and it's fine. Like you can trash talk about it how long you want. It's totally good. And for me, it's a little bit about like my same it's like my personality. Like I can trash talk about myself, so what the fuck you want to do about it? Like it's good. And I think both work together.
Yes. I hear that. It's like the feedback you get, even recognizing that it's feedback, it's evoking something, a feeling,
Yes.
an emotion in someone is a response.
Yes, totally. And it's really not bad. Like, I mean, it's totally not rational, objective criticism. When they tell me like everything is bubbly and the keycap is trash and it won't work, totally fine. Like, of course, like that's an important thing to do. But when we when we get back to like logo design, like as long as you can argue what you did there and argue about the detail and it makes sense, then there is nothing we can argue about. And I mean, you can put those kinky on your keyboard and it works. So we're good to go. Like it's not even like 3 meters long. Like it still has a value and you can put it on your escape or whatever you want. And yeah, push that naughty.
Yes. Bring it to life.
Yeah.
But one thing you mentioned was that you have been doing all of this work commissions. You collaborate with others and are inspired by their ideas, at times fulfilling them, or other times realizing them in ways that you would prefer. And then you mentioned that you recently did this bullied kinky, which is such a dope idea, and you're realizing your own idea. And I was just curious how that affects your approach when you're working for making things for other people versus making things for yourself.
So it's kind of hard. Sometimes a commission leans into a personal project. That's what I mean with the Tiffany. Like there is a wish, and I always like that. That's for me the coolest thing. I'm so sorry for everyone who commissioned the keycap from me, but I always interested in the person behind it. Like you mostly you can't say, "Hey Roman, I want a kinky do those 5 colors and for the ball, I don't know, do what you want, make a surprise for me." Like I don't want to let you go like that. Like there will be voice messages, there will be text messages. Like I want to know you. Like, and this is like another wall you have to climb when you like get in touch with me. Like I like to know the people behind, and I somehow treated those artisans or like those colorways a little bit like a logo. And I try to brand it for the person who get it. And I think this is the main difference when I do a design totally just from scratch from me. Of course, like I come from myself. Like I think like, oh, what would like make the idea of the kinky getting expressed even more? And when I think like, okay, there is something that is already hyped, there is a face which already screams, like the kinky itself doesn't look like a cute fellow. It's already like hard and says like, oh, I'm afraid or I'm angry or whatsoever. And at the same time, it's some kind of sexual BDSM. So a lot of things people don't already like at the first time they see it. And then I thought like, okay, let's think about something really horrible. Like, getting beaten up as a child in school and put it in a kinky, like in a situation that totally could brought up your life in a terrible position for the as long as you live, and try to realize what this could look like, and still brought it there with somehow like of the respect that should be in there when you're talking about some situation like that. And it somehow like reminded me from like when I first was like a pretty shy guy who, I mean, I was never beaten up at school or something like that, but from someone who could be in this perspective, and like this is the kinky when he was like in puberty. And the kinky that I mostly do is like a grown up, you know, like no one could fuck up with this guy. Like he's pretty much selfish and he knows what he wants and he is proud of it. But the small guy, like who got beat him up, he is not sure about what he is doing. And maybe he is not sure about his sexuality or whatsoever. Like, of course, this is something you won't recognize when you see the sculpt at first and you don't know like the whole story behind it. But this is like, I like the approach of having something that I can get my perspective in. I try to understand it and then maybe bring that up to the sculpt itself. And yeah, that's also something where Andrew, without that he's knowing, helped me, because I really love his molar sculpt, like all his molars, and he sent me like a crazy ton of it. And I just have them laid. Yeah. I just had them laid around. And I thought, dude, that's so cool. And I thought, oh, I could use 2 of his molar artisans, put them beside the kinky, because those are the beaten out teeth from my kinky. And I thought, like, thanks, Andrew. You are not even involved in this idea, but you brought it up.
In the story to life, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that. You're taking elements from your inspiration, your ideas, and then creating that, whether or not you make that into a cap, but using that as influences for your design.
Yeah. Totally. And I mean, that's like, maybe it's already brought up from the negative feedback that I got. You know, like, okay, you think this is hard, I can make it even harder. You know, like that's not like the ending point. And I think that makes, this is like another category of value, I would say.
I've heard you say of artisans, when I say artisans, I don't mean just keycap. When I say this now, it's your approach to your making in the hobby. I've heard you say of artisans that this has been one of the most satisfying of all of the hobbies that you've pursued, and I was curious why.
I think mainly because it's a product I can get out on my own. Like I'm also like, I do like music a little bit. Like I always feeling shitty because it's not good enough, but I do it a lot and I got a lot of equipment for it. I do a lot of photography. A lot of design. Like I got a good amount of hobbies, but only designing stuff and artisans are the one that are leading to, they get out. You know, like I can, it's hard to say, but I can set them free. You know, like I know there is a point where I say, that's it. Like, that's it. I think it's good. I hope the other side thinks as well. And I can let it go and I'm fine with it. And I know that I did what I can to make it up how I would like to receive it. And I can only say this for like my design stuff when I do logos and corporate design whatsoever for other people's, being it artisan makers or keyset designers or just brands that don't have anything in common with like our community. And for artisan, it's the same. Like I know there are people, like that's crazy. There are people who never ever got an artisan and their first artisan is the kinky, which to me is, it's ballsy. That's got awesome. Like, yeah, that got pretty hairy walls that weren't been washed for a long time.
They're probably also massive.
Yeah, exactly. But and then even the commission. Like, I mean, I told you already all those steps you have to do to just like like get in touch with me and all the conversation and stuff. But when you're then even willing to say like, oh yeah, and that's the first artisan, or even the guy that I'm thinking of already got like 5. And he just told me like he liked it, and I just had like a terrible one kinky was like he wanted me to color match GMK honey, and yellow is crazy to match. Like, oh, I hate it. Like it's the same like matching Olivia, like this pinkish skin tone, whatever. Like it's so hard. But I mean, I managed it. Like the GMK honey, it looked good at the end, but there were a crazy ton of failed attempts. Like, yeah.
Yes. I mean, I hear you say it's both being able to realize your own designs, like have your own product, have your own creations, and also overcome, break down the walls and share it with other people and then get that feedback.
Yes, please. Sharing, I mean, yeah, Instagram, some hate it, some love it, but the feedback is cool. Like, yeah, for me, you can totally delete those numbers. Like, I'm not totally a number guy. Like, I'm crazy thankful that so many makers, I don't know why they do it, but they shout out my stuff. I like as I said, like mostly, I totally understand it when everyone is helping each other and someone do a sale and we all like post like his sale. Totally cool. But I don't do those. I don't do sales. People take their fucking value time, take any of my pictures or whatever, and say, hey, look, there is this German idiot who does stuff. And it seems they like it. And this is so much respect that goes into, like, there are people who are way longer in the hobby. And I'm always like, why are you putting the spotlight on me? Like, let me be the weirdo. Like, I'm feeling good with it. Like, I'm good with it, and I like when you think that's like my role, but mostly I am that, and that's pretty cool. And yeah, I made like a lot of friends, and that's awesome. Like I never was thinking about like those relationships over the internet. I don't had anyone of this like before because I'm not like a gamer or whatsoever, so I never got really in contact with it. And then I have to fucking speak English the whole time, which is another thing to do. And now I'm ending up like, yeah, having like real Discord video chat conversations. Finally, we got in contact with each other besides the Discord, the text, and the voice messages. And that's so cool. Like, I never knew how much fun I would have and how grateful those people are. Like, you can write me a message, but I don't know the person behind it. But when you are willing to put yourself before a camera, and we all sometimes aren't like under the shower before and pretty made up. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that.
I hear you. I definitely appreciate that. I mean, this might be a good place to wrap up. And sure. As you know, I mean, I'm so fortunate for you making the time, Roman. I mean, really, even more than, I mean, knowing that you have this background in artisans. I mean, just hearing and feeling your approach to the craft is really inspiring. I mean, you have this whole perspective of establishing these narratives, this comprehensive design. You consider the people when you're making these commissions instead of just XYZ 1, 2, 3, red, blue, green. Like you're just churning that out. It's really inspiring. And again, I'm just saying thank you for your time. And as you might know, one thing I like to ask my guests is just if you would have anything to say or like an ask or request or just a message you'd like to share with everyone who's listening to this interview.
I got one dumb thing that I have to ask because we did not talk about it, and I always ask, when you first heard Captomaniacs, did you realize that it is Captomaniacs?
I had no idea. Before we wrap up, tell me about Captomaniacs. Sorry, I was just vibing. I lost track.
It's
Yes,
totally
please.
fine. I mean, I talked a ton, so it's not your fault. But yeah, Captomaniacs, as you know, like coming from a marketing perspective, so I bash myself a crazy amount of time just to come up with something. And then I thought like something about Maniac. And the first thing I thought like Kleptomaniacs. So you kind of steal stuff. And I had that was funny because the first thing I had in mind when I thought about artisans were like how China keycap clones does it. You know, if you take a design and I thought like, oh, that's kind of cool when you do that with kleptomaniacs because like I can steal stuff, do something on my own. I think that's funny. That's a cool approach. But then I thought like, oh my god, no, I don't have the balls to step on people's toes that much. Like I don't have it. Like that's a little bit too much for me. And then I thought like, but the name is so cool. I really like how it sounds. And then I thought like, okay, how I can arrange it. And the funny part about it is then I came up with Captomaniacs because it is cap inside. That's kind of all that I want to have. And I thought, oh, that's a cool name. And then I just had to realize, oh damn, it's Captomaniacs. You're giving away caps to maniacs because they are really willing to give money to anyone in Germany who's shipping out maybe some caps for a really good amount of money. And that's how I ended up with the name. And I kind of love it, but at the same time, I'm kind of angry that no one gets it, that the name is kind of good. It's not that bad. But no, I ask everyone, and no one say, oh yeah, oh, you're right. It's Captomaniacs.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
I had to ask it. I'm sorry. I had to do it.
No, I think that's beautiful. I mean, there's layers to it.
Yeah, I like it. That's like always my marketing approach. Like even when doing logos, like always adding layers and has something that is intelligent or at least fits with the philosophy of the people or person who brought up something. Yeah.
I'm thinking that might just be on the level of so subliminal, similar to I remember the FedEx symbol.
Mm-hmm.
I never realized there was the arrow between
Yes.
the E and X where
Yes.
until it said, then
Yes.
I didn't realize it. And
Yes.
Captomaniacs, I always thought of you as Capto, and the idea that you are bringing your caps to all of the crazy people like us, all of the maniacs inside of us, it makes perfect sense.
Okay. Okay. But as we said, we're gonna wrap up. So the only thing that I would like to say at the end, is of course like it fits me a little bit, but I think what the community could value a little bit more is like take your time and watch what you like. You know, like there's a lot of stuff that gets hyped, of course, and some is reasonable, some maybe don't. I don't want to like value what is better, what is not, but there is a lot of art in our community and in everything, in 3D printed stuff, in novelties, in hand painted stuff, everything you couldn't imagine. So no one should value something more or less. Just get out there. There's a lot of desert. Somewhere you find your gold. But I think the time of searching, there is so much value. And I think we should spend more time on searching till we find something that really resonates with us. That's yeah. I want to say that.
Thank you for sharing that.
Sure. Thanks for your time. Like don't just say like thanks for like doing it and yeah. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. I feel most grateful. I've definitely have a background of negative self-talk where I'm not worthy of, and
Oh my god.
No, I hear this with you too. Is I'm practicing being more. I'm most grateful. I'm really thankful
Yes.
for you, and I mean I hear that in everything you say. The way you appreciate the people who support you, the people
Yes.
who've helped you learn, and also for your ability and then the chance you have to make. So
Yes.
I wholly just reflect that appreciation your way. And with that, I mean, where's the best place for people to get in touch or follow you or see what's going on with what you're up to?
I got Instagram, and when you are willing to get voice messages, then you are so good to go to come to me, and we can talk, we can chat. Like I try to figure out some time. And even like, don't just like get in touch because like getting artisans, like everything that's in any point related to the hobby, I'm so down.
Oh man, I mean, we're so fortunate. I mean, I'm so fortunate, and I hope everyone who's listening feels the same way, that your passion for what you do. So, I mean, I'm again just echoing and saying thank you for your time. And I just want to say to everybody who's listening, everything we talked about will be linked in the show notes at onceitclicked.com. So we can see what Roman's up to. We'll show that original kinky design, and maybe I'll throw in my bad first attempts to of what my sculpts were. But again, thank you everyone for listening.